Hello! So we're back checking out this old design. I have probably made 3 videos, I think, on this villager breeder, but you know what? Things keep changing. So today we're going to be talking about something really simple. This is just the update to 1.13. So this breeder still works in all versions that I know of. I think 1.8 is when they changed villager mechanics. I'm not sure. This could work before then, but this is the basic breeder that Minerva uses on our survival world, and it's a pretty standard design at this point. And in 1.13, the sorter for the babies doesn't quite work anymore. You see with the new water mechanics, their hitbox doesn't quite swim up all the way through the water like they used to, and they no longer hit this second blade. I'm going to actually switch to our survival world where we've built this breeder, and I'll show you the fix that we came up for it. And then if you guys want the tutorial, I'll show that, and then there will be a world download link below. Aha! We're in survival mode on the Minerva server. Yudi's saying hey to me. So this is our breeder. You can see it's working. The villagers are going down the line, and we built this 2 wide, which means like 2 of the 16 segments. So we've got 32 pairs of villagers in here. It is very, very fast, but this is the solution we came up with, which is slightly awkward to show because you can see that it bugged out, but I'll demonstrate in a bit here how that's not actually a problem. So because the blade doesn't quite work anymore, but you do need a full block so when the babies grow that they can swim all the way up. And to reduce lag slash increase space, I made this a 2x5 area. So all of the babies just get pushed into this nice little air gap inside of these fence gates, and they just sort of stand here until they grow up. And I mentioned how this one isn't a problem because sooner or later, you can see that his head is in the glass block. Sooner or later, these babies will get shifted around and pushed around, and they'll grow up through here. It's extremely rare that this happens. We've been using this on Minerva for over a week now, and this has happened a few times, but never have they ever gone back into this piston section and gotten stuck fully. Every single time they've been pushed back into the center because this mass of babies gets shifted around with their hitboxes, and eventually it gets fixed. And you can see it's bugging out here, but as I said, I've never seen this break. So yeah, it's pretty simple. The reason for the pistons we have here is because when we want to disable this breeder, we just pull out the floor and let the babies die. Unfortunately, I don't know enough about village mechanics, but I've seen it be a pretty good alternate solution to turn off this breeder is to make this villager out of range of this village. If I'm not mistaken, his head needs to be out of range of the villages, so they just move them down. I don't know if that's 3 or 4 blocks or whatever. Please, if somebody knows in the comments, just let me know. But I've seen people do this where if you just push the villager up and down with that block being on a sticky piston, you could disable it that way by just shutting down the whole village. But yeah, this is basically the solution, and I'll hop into the creative world and show you guys how to build it. Alright, so we're back into creative, and I've done a little bit of cleanup. So I ripped out the old sorter for the babies, and I should address that the reason you don't want any babies coming out of here, you only want adults, is because typically if you're building a villager breeder, you're looking to trade with them, and you can't trade with babies. They don't work as well in most villager sorters, and they're just kind of a hassle to deal with, so you want to make sure that only the full adults get out of there. And if you want a great villager sorter, I just released a video yesterday on the subject. You can click it up here or linked below. It's a Hyperspeed villager sorter. It's very, very, very fast, and I did a full tutorial on how to build it, including a world download if that's what you're into. So in this case, and this is my old tutorial world, I'll provide the original world download to this and the video that I showed this in, but I built this with these holes here to demonstrate that this thing can be, you know, just one of these segments of 16. It can honestly be a circle if you want it to, as long as you know the radius of this village, which I think is 27 blocks. You can put it pretty much anywhere in a sphere, but most people go for this conventional 16 pair design. And as you saw, we went for a 32. If you wanted this to be, you know, a 64 pair design with 128 villagers, you could. That's why I brought it to the center point, but I'm just gonna work off of this middle point right here. And you saw in Minerva how we use all 5 of these blocks here. And then we made a 5x2. Now note that this is a ton of space. As you saw, when our breeder is running very fast, it is a little too little space. So for one breeder, I would recommend like a 3x2, or, you know, honestly, you could do a 3x3 if you wanted to. It's a pretty easy to work with design. The whole idea is that the babies just stand in an air block, and then the water just moves them up. But we'll build off of this center point right here. Actually, you know what? Let's build it off of this middle area right here. So we're just going to take a simple 4x2, why not, and then just add in all the glass to go around it. You can do this however you want. It doesn't even need to be glass. Glass is just usually a nice block to look into. I'm going to wall this off and then make this as if you were building this in survival mode. So you just want like 2 water sources pushing everything into the center, and then you're going to want a whole bunch of fence gates in here. I suppose you could technically use signs, but I've always used fence gates because it's a little less laggy than signs, because signs contain data of the text that was written on them, and that can be a little impactful on your worlds. But you know, you can just block this off, and then that makes sure all the babies will just get pushed in nice and clean. If you don't have this glass block here, they won't go up into the water as well, or if you have an air block here, they can even swim up into the water, so you want to avoid that at all costs. And then basically you just want to create these infinite water sources, make sure it's just a flat bed of water for them to stand on. Thank God in 1.13 they made it so that these can float, which is so easy to work with now. And then from here you can pretty much even just take that. So I'm going to add plenty of space for the adults to grow into, and then they can just swim up into here. Okay, now that you've provided this space with all these blocks around it so the villagers can't escape, you kind of have to decide where you want to put them. Because I built this in an even way, I'm going to bring this to just one side because it's much easier to deal with the villagers if they're going into a 1x1 tube. It doesn't really matter. On Minerva, we built a 5x2, so it was easy to have a center point. You could build a 2x2 tube going wherever you want them to, but I like to bring them into a 1x1 hole and then pick them up with a minecart. So we're going to go with this design right here. Basically, you want to just chain it out and then extend the tunnel wherever you want to go. Honestly, if you wanted to just go from here, you could go on just like so, or you could drop them a few blocks or do whatever you wanted with them. If you wanted to chain it, all you'd have to do is add the walls to guide them along. My suggestion, and this isn't really as big of a deal I've never seen this in survival in 1.13, but every once in a while I've seen it glitch out where if you unload the area improperly, a villager can maybe glitch into this upper block. I would suggest making this a full block if you ever find that happening, and then that way they'll just suffocate. However, in my experience, I haven't seen this happen in 1.13. So to extend it, all you need to do is cut it off like so. Put a fence gate at the end, put it on this side, and then the full adult villagers will be able to go straight through this. The babies will get stuck in these holes if they ever glitch through or something crazy happens. And then you can effectively extend this infinitely. If ever you get to a point where you want the villagers to fall down, then it's even easier. You just block off the hole like that, and then extend it to wherever you want the villagers to go, just like so. And then have a containing center wherever you want. That's entirely up to you. The way I make these tutorials is a little less structured and more designed so that you guys can do whatever you want with these villagers and make sure that this always works for you. And then, you know, I can demonstrate here. Actually, if I go in maybe from below, I can just show when an adult grows up, they'll just swim on up and then get pushed to the corner, and they'll go wherever you want. So that's it. Just a simple update to our old design and / little refresher. If you guys haven't seen this breeder before, it's a phenomenal design. Honestly, I've yet to seen one that's as simple and easy to build. It runs insanely fast. It's about 6 villagers an hour per pair if you have this hooked up to a food farm. You can see this one isn't providing as much right now because there isn't any food coming in. In fact, if I came in here right now and actually dumped maybe a bunch of carrots down, they'd probably pick those up and start breeding, if I'm not mistaken. And then some babies will pop out eventually, maybe not instantly. So yeah, hopefully that update fixes it for you if this was broken in 1.13. Happy sorting, and thanks for watching, you guys.